If you know me personally or from Twitter, then you know that I love Sonic the Hedgehog. It is my absolute most favorite game series of all time. And obviously, I gotta like the movie, and I do like the movie, so I decided that I'm gonna make a prediction video for stuff I think is gonna happen slash stuff I want to see in the Sonic movie 2. So let's just jump into that. It's no surprise at all that the Sonic movie was a major success. After all, it's based off a very popular game series and had that whole redesign controversy that caused people to see it because they changed the design. So then they were like, oh, we have to see it. That's besides the point. Anyways, the movie was a major success, making $300 million in the box office. And it is, of course, getting a sequel in 2022. First thing I wanted to discuss is which characters from the games are going to appear in the sequel. First and most obvious, Tails. Now, we all saw the end credits scene. If you haven't seen it by now, then go watch the movie. It's been like 6 months. Anyways, the role I believe Tails is going to play is some sort of like adoptive brother towards Sonic. I've theorized that they are going to reveal that Longclaw is still alive and took care of Tails to basically like be a better parent towards Tails than she was with Sonic to try to like make herself feel better. But then like Tails goes to look for Sonic after Longclaw finally tells him about Sonic. Anyways, that's just my like plot idea. It's not anything concrete, of course. Next character that I believe is going to appear in the Sonic movie 2 is Knuckles. Now, in the first movie, we saw that there were echidnas that attacked Sonic in the opening, so we know that echidnas exist in the movie universe, which obviously means that Knuckles also has to exist, because in the first movie, the director said they were going to use the Chaos Emeralds, but they decided not to and they were going to save it for the sequel, so that must mean that the Master Emerald could exist in the sequel, which would be the perfect opportunity to introduce Knuckles. Now, the role I believe that Knuckles is going to play kind of plays off to the little Tails storyline, where Knuckles is going to be trying to hunt down Sonic and chasing them throughout the entire movie as some sort of like secondary antagonist, kind of like how he was in Sonic 3, but then maybe like midway or even towards the end of the movie, Knuckles could change his ways and befriend them, and they could form the iconic trio that we see in the games. Anyways, here's just a design of how Knuckles would look in the movie. I don't know who the artist is. Leave in the comments if you know who the artist is, and then I'll like credit their like page of whatever they're on in the description afterwards. Next character, this is kind of a shot in the dark, but I'm gonna say there's a slight chance Amy Rose could appear in the movie, and this is solely just because of the fact that I love the design of this fan art right here. Like, I just love the look of it. It's got like this outdoorsy kind of like look to it. The way she just has like a personality just in this image is like great. And if they can make a portrayal of Sonic good, I'm hoping, and Eggman in the movie, I'm hoping they can make the other characters good again. Because throughout the 2010 era, all of the characters kind of lost their personality and became one-note stereotypes. So I'm hoping more and more game characters get added so we can give them like actual personalities. And this image just gives off like such like a good personality of how I'd want Amy to be. And the final game character that I want to discuss appearing in the Sonic movie 2 is Metal Sonic. Now, I believe that Metal Sonic could play a role as our main antagonist, because unlike games, movies don't tend to use the same villain twice, unless it's like some like lazy kids movie that just wants to like use the same villain over and over again, just copy and paste the same plot, which I don't believe that the Sonic movie 2 would do, because it seems like it's going to be taking a different direction from the first one. And so I believe instead of Eggman being our primary antagonist, he could be like a background character, because we saw at the end of the movie that he was stuck on the Mushroom Planet. So my plotline idea is that he could use the scraps from his space shuttle to try to build like a detector thing to get to his drones on Earth. And he'd use the quill that we saw him have at the end of the movie, he'd build that into a robot, making it Metal Sonic. And here's a quick design of how Metal Sonic could look. I like this design because it's kind of like the idea of Metal Sonic in the style of how Eggman's robots look in the first movie. But, they could just do the regular Metal Sonic design because fans have I've heard tons of people say that they wanted Eggman to have more of the classic kind of robot designs where they're more colorful. So they could start that with Metal Sonic. And I think Metal Sonic could be like how I imagine Knuckles, where he's like trying to pursue Sonic and Tails the entire time. But then maybe like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles could team up to fight Metal Sonic, and it could be like kind of like the OVA, because I think that'd be pretty cool, just like the Sonic OVA without the weird like cat girl or the island in the sky. That'd be really cool. So the next thing I want to discuss is what would the human characters be playing, and honestly, I think they'd be playing a role, just not as major of a role as in the first movie, because it seems like with this movie they want to focus on more of the Sonic characters. Like they want to focus on Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Eggman. They want to focus on those and like the Sonic side of this Sonic movie, whereas in the first movie they kind of focused on the humans. The way they did in the first movie, I think it was well balanced compared to other live action CGI hybrids. So I think if we could get like the same amount or like a little bit more of the Sonic side of the Sonic movie, then I think the Sonic movie 2 will be just great. We'll have a great balance. Now, what role will the characters like play? I'll get into that when I discuss my idea of what a full like discussion of what I think the plot will be. The movie starts out on the Mushroom Planet, and we see Eggman standing outside the wreckage of his destroyed ship from the first movie, and we see him harvesting parts from it, and we see him build some sort of radio beacon device of some sort, and he presses a button as he laughs maniacally. It then cuts to the town, where we see Sonic running around in a disguise of some sort. This could be a reference to Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, with one of the many dumb disguises that nobody should fall for, but they do anyways. We see Sonic doing some normal human activities, disguising himself as one. Some fun, like, visual jokes can happen here, maybe, as Sonic narrates what has happened with him and what he's been doing since the first movie. So it's a very similar vein to the intro or opening of the first movie, where he's like talking about his life and stuff, hiding from the humans and stuff. But this time he's not hiding. But anyways, one of the things we see him doing is he's with Tom, and they're just talking, doing their usual like buddy like chat or whatever that they always do. And they're going into town to buy snacks for movie night that they were doing in the first movie, but this time Sonic's invited. We then cut to the top of the hill from the end credit scene of the first one, and we basically get a redo of that scene, but with a little more context added of what's happening. And so once we see Tails fly off, it cuts back to the town, and Tom and Sonic are just talking as they're walking back. They're discussing like whatever movie they're gonna watch. Maybe Sonic could make like a pop culture reference so that people would be like, that's like humor or whatever, or what the market execs think humor is. But anyways, they're all just talking, and then boom, orange light just crashes into Sonic, and then the disguise flies right off. Sonic is initially mad about this, thinking some sort of like bird or something hit him, until he looks up and he sees Tails, and Sonic is just in shock that there's another creature on Earth like him. And then Tails begins like describing like kind of what happened, where he was flying, and then he sees Sonic, and he has this moment of like just shock that he finally found him. And he has like this excitement moment where he's telling about how excited he is that he's finally found him. But Sonic's confused because he doesn't know Tails, but apparently Tails knows him, and he asks like how does he know him? And Tails describes a story, and this cuts to a flashback. We cut back to the original opening of the first movie, like the first 5 minutes on Green Hill, where Longclaw has just sent Sonic to Earth. But we see an extended version of that, where the Echidna tribe doesn't kill Longclaw like we assumed, but instead they stopped hunting her because she doesn't have what they're looking for, so they just leave. But as Longclaw is walking back to her like hut, probably limping or whatever because she got shot, she hears crying of the sorts, and she looks in the bushes and she sees a baby version of Tails and like a little like swapped up in a blanket or whatever. So she picks it up and takes him home. Anyway, she gets back to her house and she sees that Tails has two tails, which like gives her the idea that this is another extraordinary animal that I have to take care of, and this time I'll do it better. We then see a montage of Tails growing up, building inventions, and Longclaw being just amazed about how smart Tails is, until eventually we get to one of the major things of showing off Tails' smarts, is that Tails tells Longclaw that he wants to follow her around. But then she says, like, you can't fly, though. And then Tails just has this moment of, like, where he's sitting there thinking, and then he has this, like, light bulb moment, and he starts spinning his tails until he starts hovering. And Longclaw is just amazed by this, that a land creature learned to fly with the power of his tails. So Longclaw, well, Tails is flying around, like, trying to get used to flying. She ends up bumping into something in that house and knocks over a picture frame of Longclaw and Sonic. And then Tails asks, like, who's that? And Longclaw finally tells Tails about Sonic and how Sonic is kind of like Tails' brother in a way. And so Tails is just like, it has this moment where he decides to leave in the middle of the night after telling Longclaw that he's going to go find Sonic and that he promises to bring Sonic back to her. And then Tails leaves with a bag of rings and the little hand device, which is how Tails knows where to find Sonic. And after years of hopping around planets and stuff, Tails finally finds Earth and runs into Sonic. After they have this reunion, and Sonic has a little emotional outburst, realizing that Longclaw is still alive and that he'll be able to meet her again, suddenly an arrow whistles from the forest, and we just see some sort of like arrow nearly hit Sonic, and they're looking at it, and the arrow has some sort of markings on it that are like basically in a retcon way revealed to be the arrows that belonged to the Echidna tribe. And Sonic looks over in the forest, and there's one Echidna in there. And then after they run off, Sonic, Tails, and Tom hop through a ring portal to escape. And then afterwards, we just see the Echidna. We get a shot of like his legs, like his foot or whatever, and it shows the shoes, like the iconic Knuckles shoes. It pans up, you see his hands, they have the spikes on them, and we get like some sort of orchestral version of Knuckles' theme from Adventure, like the opening tune of it. And then that's how that scene ends. And that's just so far what I imagine. After that, it's not much. The next thing I imagine is like scenes of like Eggman's drones attempting to rescue him until he builds like some teleporting device or whatever to get the quill there, and then he builds Metal Sonic, and then maybe along the road they run into Amy or something, And then they eventually start collecting the Chaos Emerald. And then after like collecting all of the Chaos Emeralds, maybe they'd find the Master Emerald. Knuckles would probably like befriend them or something, and then Sonic would turn to Super Sonic and then fight Metal Sonic or something. I don't really know. I only thought of like the first like opening, and then after that I don't really have an idea of where the plot would go after that. But I just know that I have an idea of what like the setup would be for the movie. But other than that, that's really it. Let me know what you all thought, and I don't really have an outro planned, so bye.